So shipping in Australia. We'll get a couple of the challenges out of the way and then go through some of the solutions that the shipping companies of Australia have addressed. Challenge number one. Australia is a huge country. We're the most isolated country in the world. Challenge number two. Huge landscape to cover for all the remote cities and towns across this continent. Challenge number three, the fuel costs of diesel and petrol has increased significantly. So every shipping company will apply a fuel levy to the parcel shipment. The fuel levy will be variable. It can be anywhere from 2 to 3% to 16, 18% on top of the cost of the parcel shipment. And it completely varies month to month when they update this price. So within Australia, there's a couple core carriers that have tried to combat these challenges to send parcels across this country. First one off the list is Australia Post, or the Australian Postal Service. It's a government regulated company. A bunch of politicians got together and said we got to improve our communications in 1809, and they created the first beginning postal services. It has franchises and postal services all across the nation. Those postal services are depots for where parcels can be received and dispatched from. In number two is StarTrack. StarTrack is the sister company that is connected with Australia Post, and the two of them are technically two companies under the one umbrella. They are effectively the B2B player that is trying to maximize the carrier that takes care of the air. That on the side is Qantas. Qantas is a private company that runs through, but Australia Post with StarTrack piggybacks onto Qantas to get amazing pricing rates to be able to fly parcels overnight and next day across the country. They have opened up a couple extra services under StarTrack, which is like fixed price premium. And what they do is they allow you to send a parcel from your point of dispatch to your delivery point, usually by air, and then by van for the last mile of the delivery. Australia Post has something very similar. It's called Australia Post eParcel, the business level baseline for utilizing Australia Post's distribution network. And they will do the same thing. They will take a plane, fly to its city. From that city, it will then be broken down at its local distribution hub, and then will be sent out by van or by motorbike to get to its final destination. Some other mentionable domestic carriers in Australia. First one, TNT. Probably the commercial alternative to StarTrack. TNT provides larger parcel pallets, large boxes. They'll usually charge that, and they usually charge a flat rate to be able to send it through. Their prices are pretty good. Now, we have worked with the following names, and now we don't work with these following names. First one off the list, Courier Please. Courier Please was a very low price, affordable provider, but it also had a low quality of achieving the target of the service of getting the parcel from A to B. But what we had found was inconsistency in their arrangements. We found management was a bit messed up, and so you get what you pay for, is what I'm pretty much saying here. Now mention number two, Toll. Toll is trying to compete against Australia Post themselves. I think they've only been around for like 20, 30 years, and they do have distribution locations, and they've been doing setup contracts around. So we were utilizing Toll before Christine Holgate during that time. Toll had taken on board some of our smaller parcels because they had a certain service that was where you would purchase the bags, and then those bags will allow you to send across the country. And then there was also a larger StarTrack alternative of larger parcels that they were also working with. And so we were using both of those based on the really great shipping prices. The problem was that with Toll, they lost products. They made mistakes with the address receival point. They damaged the products that they were managing on transit. Funny enough, the quoted price for the larger shipments to the final price in the invoice did not align, and therefore was disputed quite frequently. Tread with caution. International providers from Australia to the rest of the world. First one that we all are aware of is FedEx. The relationship with FedEx is that it has come into Australia. It's Federal Express from the United States has made a corporate alignment with TNT here in Australia. The two companies are very much trying to do the same thing that Australia Post and StarTrack has done, which is to merge and become one together. FedEx is looking to not play in the domestic shipping of parcels across this country, but be more about taking the international shipment of parcels out of Australia into the rest of the world with the the FedEx network system established by them. TNT would be handling most of the domestic shipments and are working accordingly to that sort of arrangement. Second provider, DHL Australia. I must admit, DHL is by far the best international carrier out there. They are also by far the most expensive shipping carrier out there. They take advantage of providing a very high price, but provide a very good service. So if you're in the business where you have a product that is of a high priced point, $250 and above, DHL will certainly take care of a door-to-door experience, not be stuck in any tax duties issues when leaving and getting stuck at customs. DHL has been very, very good to get to its final destination. Of course, that comes with a price point, and you do, again, as was saying before, pay exactly for what you get. There is only one other international provider, which is again, Australia Post. Australia Post does hold a service that is for international shipping, and they are probably the most economic one, but there's a difference between FedEx, DHL, and Australia Post when it comes to your international parcels leaving Australia. FedEx and DHL will be able to provide, for certainty, a door-to-door experience and not get stuck at customs for any custom declaration or custom charges that must be provided through their route. Australia Post, if it does not clear, they will get stopped at the border and they will expect your customer to pay the import duty charge acquired to that shipment. So what they call that is duties paid by sender or duties paid by receiver. And Australia Post is the one that only has the options of duties paid by receiver, which is your customer, where DHL and FedEx will both have a duties paid by sender option available. So you can also do it to the receiver if you choose to, or your customer can pay for it. But to make it a really wonderful door-to-door experience without any stoppages, it's usually best that the sender pays for that and absorbs that cost. Again, absorbing that cost makes DHL the higher of the two between that. So this is the different types of carriers with Australia, and I hope that you've got some experience from this. If you do have any more interest in knowing more about this, there is more information available on our website, as well as you're welcome to reach out to us to ask us as a fulfillment house here in Australia for more insights and helpful tips around sending your products to Australia. Have a great day and all the best in your search.